everyone. So today you won't be able to see my face because our faces of Easter are getting so long that I need extra space to be able to tell the story. So I'm going to be off camera, so you'll still hear my voice. But we're going to focus on seeing the pictures today as we continue our Faces of Easter. God spoke to Mary and told Mary that she would become the mother of God, and she would be the mother of the Word. And the Word was born, a wordless child. And when the baby looked into the face of the mother Mary, he could see the cross. And when he looked in the face of the father Joseph, the cross was there too. And the baby had everything he needed to grow. And he grew and he grew. And the baby grew to become a boy. And when he was about 12 years old, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus went into Jerusalem to celebrate one of the holy days. While they were there, Mary and Joseph could not find Jesus. They looked everywhere for him, and they decided to spend the night. And finally, they found him. He was in the temple, speaking with the rabbis, the priests. They were listening to him, and he was listening to them. And they said, "What are you doing?" Jesus said, "Did you not know that I would be in my Father's house?" They didn't understand. They didn't understand, but they didn't forget. That boy grew to become a man, and when he was 30 years old, he was baptized in the River Jordan by his cousin John. And the people who were there that day said that they saw a dove come from heaven and come so close to Jesus. And the people there also said that they heard a voice from heaven, and that voice said, "This is my son, with whom I am well pleased." And after Jesus came from the darkness and the chaos of the water back into the light, he traveled back across the River Jordan. And he went to the desert so he could think about the work he was going to do. When you are in the desert, there's very little to eat or drink. And one day, when Jesus was in the desert thinking about his work, a voice came and said, "If you are the Son of God, then turn these stones into bread." And Jesus said, "No, man does not live on bread alone." And it was as if Jesus was transferred to the top of one of the tallest temples in Jerusalem. And the voice said, "If you jump from here, call on the angels to catch you before you hit the stones below." And Jesus said, "We do not test God." And then it was as if Jesus were transferred to the top of the tallest cliff where he could see all the kingdoms in all of the world. And the voice said to him, "If you follow me, I will make you the king of all these kingdoms." And Jesus said, "No, I am a king, but I am not that kind of king." And the voice went away. And Jesus went back across the river to begin his work. But what was his work? When he got back across the River Jordan, Jesus found his work to be talking to those that no one else would speak with and helping them do things that they could not do before. See, this man was blind, and now he can see. Jesus also began to tell stories called parables. And he even said that he was going to become a parable himself. Jesus went into Jerusalem for the last time. It was the time of Passover, so the city was full of people from many different lands. They thought Jesus was coming to be king, but they weren't paying attention. He wasn't riding a great white horse like a king, and he wasn't being carried by soldiers. He was riding on a donkey. He had to borrow it. It wasn't even his donkey. And still that Sunday when Jesus came into Jerusalem, people waved palm branches, which were a sign of kings. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jesus went into the temple to teach. Every night he went back to the Mount of Olives with the 12, and the people watched him and whispered that the Mount of Olives was where angels were supposed to come down to make an army to drive away the Roman soldiers. And one day, when Jesus was teaching in the temple, he said, "Do you see that old woman over there? She's going to put something in the money box. Listen. Do you hear anything? No? She put the smallest coin there is in that box, and that is all the money she has. Now here comes a rich man. He has so much money to put in the money box that he needs help to carry it. Listen. The money clangs and rings as they pour it into the box. Now I wonder which one gave the most, the old woman or the rich man. Some said the rich man gave the most, and some said it was the old woman. The temple guard said, on Thursday, we will take Jesus. But on Thursday, they could not find him. That evening, Jesus and the 12 hurried through the dark streets to a house, and they climbed up the stairs into an upper room, and they shared the Last Supper together. And Jesus took some bread, and he said something like, "Whenever you break this bread and share it, I will be there." And he took a cup of wine, and he said, "Whenever you share a cup of wine like this, I will be there." What was he talking about? He was always saying things like that, and so how could they know? Still, they did not forget, and later they would understand. Suddenly, Judas, one of the 12, got up and left, and the rest sang a hymn and then went to the Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives. Jesus wanted to pray. When he was finished, he was joined by the 12. But Judas came out of the dark and greeted him with a kiss on the cheek. This was a signal for the temple guards to take him. They came out of the shadows and took Jesus away into the night, and the 12 disappeared into the darkness. That night was a confusing one. The next day, Jesus was taken outside the walls of the city and crucified. And that afternoon, Jesus died, and the sky grew dark. Jesus was taken down from the cross and buried in a cave, and a great stone was rolled across the opening of the cave to close it like a door. Saturday was so quiet. that you could almost hear the earth breathing. On Sunday, it was the women who had the courage to go to the tomb just to be close to Jesus. They wanted to remember everything, even if it was sad. When they came to the tomb, they found that the stone had been rolled away. When they looked in the tomb, it was empty. Jesus had died on the cross, but somehow he was still with them, especially in the bread and the wine. When you look at this side, you know that the other side is there. When you look at this side, you know that this side is there. And you cannot pull them apart. And this is the mystery of Easter. And that makes all the difference. And so the color changes from purple into white. Wait, there's something wrong. There's a beginning, then there's a middle, then there's an end. But if we only have this side, the story has an end. But there's also this side. The ending is also a beginning, so we can't leave the story in a line. Let's see what we can do. Now, this story can go on forever.